Well, good evening, everyone, and behold the wonderful Bakewell Slice. So thank you very much for popping over just to check out this wee recipe. And I hope that I find you very well indeed, and you're all having a good day and having a good week so far. So if you're not from this country, you might not be, familiar with a Bakewell Slice. And it's basically a sort of almondy sponge cake. It's got a layer of jam in the middle and a layer of short crust pastry on the bottom with some almonds on top. And it's very, very popular here and remarkably easy to make as well. Typically it's made with raspberry jam or apricot jam, or you could even use cherry jam. So it really is up to you. I'm going to be using raspberry jam today. So let me go and show you how I put this together. This is my tin here. It's 18 by 30 centimetres. Now I've just greased and lined this with some grease-proof paper. Now for quickness, I'm using ready rolled shop bought short crust pastry. Say that 5 times fast. So yeah, so luckily this was exactly the size I was looking for, and that's just going to fit my tin perfectly. So I'm not going to have to roll this out or anything, but you might have to, depending on, what sort of pastry you're using. So I just flip this completely out and then straight into my tin. And do take your time with this wee bit. It might take you a few minutes just to gently lay your pastry in and make sure it's nice and tidy. And you can cut off any excess that you want from just around the top. But bear in mind, this will shrink slightly as it cooks. So just go around the base of your pastry with a fork. And then we're just going to pop this into the fridge to chill for about half an hour. You want this to firm up nicely before you bake it. So just before you pop it into the oven, you want to pop some grease-proof paper in. You want to weight that down with some baking beans or lentils or rice. I didn't have any of those things, so I'm using pasta. But ideally, I would normally use rice or lentils or something like that. You just want to bake this for about 10 minutes. You're not looking to fully bake it, but you just want, take the raw edge off of your pastry. And this was me after 10 minutes. Now you just want to discard all of that lovely pasta, or you might want to keep it again for the next time you make something. And with an egg wash, you just want to go around your exposed pastry, and we're going to pop this back in for another 5 minutes. So this was me after the 5 minutes. Let this cool for a couple of minutes before you put your jam on. This is the one that I'm using here. This is a lovely raspberry jam. This one is quite tart, but again, use whatever jam you like. So I'm just going to put 4 or 5 heaped tablespoons on there and spread it out nice and evenly. Like I said, really, really easy this, but the end result, it looks a lot more complicated than it is. It looks as if you put quite a bit of work into it, and really there isn't that much work goes into it. And then I'm going to pop on some raspberries. These are just some frozen raspberries which have been thawed. Now we can go over to your frangipan filling, and again, really simple. You want some nice soft unsalted butter. To that you want to add some sugar. I'm just using caster sugar. Cream these together for about 5 minutes and it'll go a bit lighter and fluffier. It just makes everything else so much easier to work with. 4 medium eggs, you just want to add 1 in at a time. Give it a good mix and then add your second, your third and your 4th eggs. Easy peasy. And don't worry at this point if you think it looks curdled, because, it might do, but don't worry about it, because as soon as you put your dry ingredients in and start to mix, it will look absolutely fine. So your ground almonds, your self-raising flour and your baking powder in there as well. Just give that a good stir together. Make sure everything is well combined. Then to that I'm going to add half a teaspoon of almond extract. But again, if you don't like the strong flavour of almond, you can leave that out if you prefer. All we're going to have to do now is pop the frangipan on top of the jam and the raspberry mixture. Just make sure all of your edges are nice and sealed, because you don't want any of that jam or the reds, sort of dye leaking through. Make it nice and smooth on the top with the back of a spoon, and that is it. How simple was that? Very easy. And I've got no frangipan left, and that was just the perfect amount. The last thing I've got to do is pop on the flaked almonds, as many as you like. So you want to bake this for between 35 and 40 minutes. You want to reduce the heat in your oven to 180°C, 160 if you're using a fan assisted oven or gas mark 4. And this was mine just out of the oven. You want to let this cool completely in your tin before you try and take it out, because you don't want the whole thing collapsing, because, you know, as it's warm, it's still quite fragile. But as it cools, you know, it does firm up quite a bit. And as you can see here, I can handle this quite easily. I'm just going to tuck the paper under so that I can cut it in half just to show you what it's like inside. And doesn't that look marvellous? I was really chuffed with this, and this is the first time I've done this, and I am no baker. So if I can do this, then you'll be able to do this as well. You know, just take your time with it. Have a wee bit of patience and it will work out absolutely wonderfully. Now we would typically have this kind of thing, slice it up and have it with some hot custard, or even with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I think this is going to be fabulous tomorrow, you know, when it really does firm up with a nice cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. But just before I move on, a big thank you as usual to the supporters of the wee channel over on my Patreon page, and to the new channel members here as well. So thank you once again, guys. As you know, obviously it does mean ever so much, and thank you all for watching and spending 10 minutes of your time with me. It's greatly appreciated. So until I see you next, which is going to be, oh, what's it going to be now? Oh, I've got my unbox. I've got a wee snack box there I need to unbox. I'll do that tomorrow, and then I'll be back for the shopping haul, and then back on Sunday as usual for meals of the week. So hopefully I'll see you back for one or all of those. But whenever I see you again, guys, mind take care of yourselves, and I'll see you off soon back here on What's for Tea. Bye now.